Hello everybody, this is Campus Games, and welcome to Heroes and Generals 101. Today we're gonna cover which class does what weapons they have access to, and um, how to upgrade them in general, and what subclasses you can do with each class. I'm gonna cover the United States. Of course, you got your Germans and your uh, Soviets as well. They have the exact same weapon types and exact same classes. So I'll just focus it on one class, where I got more weapons and more examples to use. The first up, the most simple class is the Infantryman. The Infantry, you're gonna start out with an M1 Garand, semi-automatic rifle. In this case, the American version of the M1 Garand, or the Gewehr 43 for the Germans, and the SVT-40 for the Soviets. It's a semi-automatic rifle. This one is stock. Deals around 50 damage, so at close range you can shoot 2 body shots and make it a kill. And it'll go down to around 35 at range, which means 3 body shots at range. Also, the multiplier for damage around 0.6 for arms and legs, 1 for body, and 4 for head. So you can one to kill with pretty much anything that does more than 20 damage because everybody has 100 health. Yeah, that's the basic. I'll be doing a guide on specific weapon types and how to upgrade them later on. But we're gonna go over the weapon subtypes as well. Other weapon types you can use on the infantryman are the submachine gun, which is good at short range. It deals less damage, around just over 25. You're gonna need 4 body shots, but it has a much higher rate of fire. And of course you can get multiple versions. Here you got the Thompson and the Infantry grease gun. You also got like the machine pistol 34 and machine pistol 40, I think, or is it 42? Hey, MP40 is it? Yeah. For the Germans, and like a PPD and a PPSH for the Soviets. Next weapon types are the handguns, just simple pistols. You got their nice sidearms, or if you're gonna use something like a bazooka, like the thing that you got right here, anti-tank weapons. They're kind of good sidearms, or also for some weapon firing out like bolt action rifle, and the best ones can get up to around 50 damage if modified. This one is unmodified, so you can only 3 body shots, but modified you can get up to 2 body shots. So yeah, next up is the bolt action rifle. The bolt action rifle is your sniper rifle. It fires very slowly, but it is very accurate and it deals very high damage. If modified, these things can be done so they can actually kill in one shot if a body shot, if not using any users using a heavy set, which is your heavy set can increase your damage up to you can decrease the damage to with 50%, which doesn't make it a one-hit kill. So yeah, this can basically get upgraded to up to one-hit kill at body shots or headshots, and they can equip both the semi-automatic rifles and the bolt action rifles can be equipped with scopes. After that, we got the light machine guns. Here we have the M19 automatic rifle with semi and fully automatic, as you can see here. You got these a little 1 bullet and a slash and a 4 bullets. That means you can do either semi or full automatic. Same thing with the Thompson, Johnson, and the M1 M2 carbine. These guns have pretty decent damage. You can upgrade them to over 50 damage, and they have a very high rate of fire, but they're not very stable, so you often have to lie down on the ground to fire accurately. And lastly, we got ourselves the assault rifle types, the special weapon types. Those are unlocked at infantry grade level 12. This is a guy which I played a little bit. I'm gonna show you guys what happens if you got a guy with a very high amount of time. It's gonna take ages for one to unlock this thing. I mean, there's a level 11. This year you got the level 9 player. This one is by far even not as far. Take a long while, but they are arguably the best weapons you can get in this game. They are often lightweight, semi and fully automatic, do very good damage, and have a very good rate of fire. Next up are your close combat weapons. We got ourselves spades. one of each faction, and knives, one of each faction. These things are pretty damn powerful. I think the knives are 1-hit kill on body hits, and the spades are 2 hits on body hits. But they only use 1 equipment point and they're silent. They do not make any sound, so that's a bonus. Next up are your hand grenades. Hand grenades, you can simply throw them and you can clear buildings with them. It is really, really handy to have at least one class, one of your, because you can have multiple guys. You can see I got 3 of them. In this scenario, it's very good to have at least one guy with a hand grenade. In order, if you have to clear a lot of buildings, if you have a very much of a building map, they're very handy to have. Next up is the anti-tank weapon, bazooka. The bazooka uses 5 equipment points off the bat, 6 if you want to upgrade its ammo storage. But it's one of your key anti-tank weaponry setups. You really are gonna need anti-tank weapons a lot. With if you're gonna play a lot of infantry, you are at least gonna get at least one. In my case, I got my sniper unit, subunit, and my anti-tank unit in one, as well as submachine as machine gunner / medic, because I only have 3 guys just at the moment, so I have to do combination classes. So yeah, they're very powerful and they have range capability of dealing with the tanks. Next up are anti-tank mines. Anti-tank mines are needed because you can use them to upgrade your tank destruction perk until you get the either anti-tank grenades or like the rocket launchers. Also, you can find one projectile like single-use anti-tank rocket launchers called the Panzerfaust in certain locations on the map itself, which is really handy. But those are needed to upgrade your tank destruction, which in terms unlocks you better anti-tank weapons. Next up are the anti-tank grenades. You have one that's specialized for each faction. In this case, it's a sticky grenade. It sticks on the tank, and after a while, it explodes. Or for the Germans, you got. Let me equip this guy. You got this thing. It's an impact mine which you throw at range. And this one also has an impact detonation weapon. We got the RPG 43. Also, the normal factions have the like the Americans and Germans have both the rocket launcher, the Panzer Strike for the Germans, and the bazooka for the Americans. But the Soviets have a special one, which is the PTRD, which is an anti-tank rifle that can deal with lightly armored vehicles at very long range. It can even be used against airplanes. That's it. Let's get back to my normal faction, and let's get back to the grenades. We also got the Hoofdladung, which is a mine which you actually have to place on a tank and then you have to run away. But it's arguably the best anti-tank weapon because it's very high power. You're only gonna need 2 of these to destroy an entire tank, no matter what weight class it is. Next up are some field gears. We got a binocular for every faction. They have a very good binocular range and they are very good for scouting and spotting. And if you have something like, if you have a bolt action rifle and you do not have the scope just yet, this can be substituted. So you kind of switch to the scope, then you kind of aim, and then you kind of switch back to the sniper rifle, and then you're gonna shoot right immediately. And finally, we got ourselves our medkits. They can heal allies and you can heal yourself. They can resupply at any medic crate, so not an ammo crate. It's used on a medic crate. Resupply. And they are really handy for a support class. Some other weapons that you can have are most classes actually have the same weapons, but some special weapons are like semi-automatic carbines that can be found on the paratroopers, and as well as special vehicles or special modifications on weapons on certain classes. For example, the sniper can have if it goes for scopes, you got these standard M84 scopes that I still have, but you can also get the universal scope, which is a 8x super scope compared to the 2x2 times super scope, which is much better. Well, the infantryman can only have up to 2x2.2 super scope. Anyway, next up is the fighter pilot. The fighter pilot is limited to weaponry. You can only use submachine guns and pistols. I have my pocket hammerless, Mark II grenade, and my spade. You can use melee weapons, and you can use anti-tank grenades, but no bazookas. And you also get access to the adjustable wrench. Adjustable wrench is a special field gear part on a class with vehicles, and you can use it to repair your vehicles. And it also can be used as a melee weapon, but it deals very little damage, so you always have to go for the head if you're gonna slap somebody with this wrench. The fighter pilot, of course, gets planes. For planes, you got 3 classes: the reconnaissance plane, fighter planes, and heavy fighter planes. Reconnaissance planes are pretty much like biplanes. In this case, it is a monoplane, but they're very slow, and they only have a light machine gun, and but I do have a guy behind that shoots backwards that also has a light machine gun. And here it's kind of a unique thing. I used to have the pilot very early ago, so I actually have the I actually started out with the P-38 Lightning, so that's the vehicle that I got. But now you actually start with the Curtis All, and you have to unlock later vehicles. So I do not have either of these two yet. So yeah, here you got yourselves the medium planes. They're simply monoplanes fighters, which are armed with machine guns and some light bombs. And this one actually has 6 heavy machine guns. And then of course you got yourself the heavy planes, which actually often carry some autocannons on there, as well as some heavy machine guns, and they carry even heavier bombs. I don't have fighter pilot on either of the other factions, so I can't really show them, but they are very, very similar. Well, actually there are some exceptions. The P-38 Lightning does not have a rear gunner, while the 2 planes of the other 2 factions, if I remember correctly, do have rear gunners for protection. So yeah, next up is the sniper. The sniper gets only access to SMGs, which you should not use on this class. You really shouldn't use them because SMGs are used to add short-range building clearance, and you only get actually also you are limited to equipment points. So for example, here you only use 5 out of 10. If you look at those blocks right here, and this class only has 6, and I use all 6, and this one has 10, and I use all 10. So as the fighter part only has 6 slots, and the sniper only has 7. So you can use a pistol and a sniper rifle, or maybe a grenade is usable as well. I actually used to run grenades secondary until I got the pistol. But you can also, for example, use a anti-tank grenade and a knife, because you got the 3 equipment slots. Yeah, you only get actually kind of only get access to the ammount Garand, the pistols and the sniper rifle, because you should ignore the submachine guns, because you should not use the sniper class with the submachine guns, and you can better take an infantryman with submachine guns, because per match you get more infantry spawns than sniper spawns. So this one's get the modified snipers that they have a few outer modifications. They got a heavy bolt modification. They actually got the chromoly and octagon barrels, which deal slightly more damage. I actually got octagon right now. I should have kind of upgraded to chromoly because it deals much more damage, but it's kind of less stable and less accurate. So that's why I use octagon right now. Again, you got actually the heavy bolt is the same with the normal sniper class, match same. So you actually got access to these 2 extra barrels and the better 8x zoom scope. Germans actually have a 4.2 times scope stock, so instead of 2x2 here, and they have the 8.0 zoom as well. The infantrymen there will have the 4.2 times scope, and the Russians will have 3.6 times scopes on the normal weapons. On the vehicle, also I forgot the vehicles that you can get on infantrymen are basic trucks. You got a jeep, you got a small tracked vehicle, you got and you got an amphibious truck. Only the jeep in this case is the machine gun. It depends on which faction you are, to see which one of them has the machine gun. You also got access to motorcycles, as well as APCs. The APCs consist of a cargo truck which does not have any weapons, but they can have 2 of those support ammunition crates, so you can get and ammo and health, or some maybe an anti-tank weapon on there. You got yourself self-propelled anti-air. They can deal with air targets, and if you position them right on a hill, you can actually shoot infantry of them. Also, as your standard APC with armored machine gun. Oop, phone's going off. Lay that away. Sorry, guys. Yeah. After that, it's back to the snipers. For the snipers, you also get access to the motorcycles, and you get access to APCs. These are the real infantry fighting vehicles. These are small, lightweight cannons and machine guns. As weaponry, they are open top. So basically, there are in every single one of the models, you will have some kind of an open hole somewhere. In this case, you have to open the roof, and these armored plates right here will actually be opened, so you can actually snipe the driver, and if you get on top of it, you can snipe the gunner. Also, the gunner and the driver in this case are 2 different seats. Same with the weapons on the APCs and 3 jeeps. Well, for tanks, with the exception of the M3 Lee secondary gun, they all have the same. You can drive and shoot with just one player. Next up is Paratrooper. Paratrooper gets access to these special carbines. They also get access to submachine guns, pistols, and if you have high enough rank, even a light machine gun or something like that. Semi-automatic rifle, knives and spades, anti-tank mines and grenades and anti-tank grenades, as well as your field gear. I personally equip mine with hand grenades to deal with buildings, and I use this very compact M1A1 carbine, which only uses 4 slots. This one is unique to this faction. Other factions will either use M1 Garans or submachine guns or light machine guns, so you cannot really use the 4 slots and then 2 slots, then you'll have to use pistols. These ones do not have any vehicles. You do have the Paratrooper plane, but it is spawned by AI, and it's controlled by AI, so you do not have to control it as a player. So that's why you cannot own one. And lastly, there you got the tanker. The tanker also gets access, in this case, to the M1A1 carbine. It also gets access to the submachine guns and handguns, and grenades, and anti-tank mines and anti-tank grenades, as well as melee weapons and your field gear. I got my range, scope, and the carbine on there. Carbine with modded fire rate, so I get a very high rate of fire weapon. For self-defense, it is semi-automatic, so I have to click very fast. And of course, you got yourself the tanks. You got light tanks, medium tanks, heavy tanks, and tank destroyers. For light tanks, you always start out with a light tank with only machine guns. The 3 vehicles are the T-38, if I'm not mistaken. The Panzer 1A and the M2A2. The M2A2 is armed with a 50 cal machine gun by the tankman, and has a secondary .30 cal light machine gun for a secondary gunner. These kinds of tanks are only effective against light tanks from the side or rear, or against normal vehicles. You should never engage normal enemies with these tanks if you don't have to. You also get yourself a medium tank, medium class tank. In my case, I use the Stewart. The Stewart is 37mm, capable of dealing with pretty much all of the enemy light tanks, which is not really an issue, and it has a very high rate of fire. You've got the M24 Chaffee on the high class one, which has a 75mm gun, which fires much slower but fires much more powerful shots. Next up is actually let's show the other possible light tanks. Here we got the Panzer 1A. The Panzer 1A only has 2 light machine guns, and the T-38 only has 1 light machine gun. but the T-38 is amphibious, so it can go over. It can actually just float in water. Then you got your Panzer II C, which has a 20mm autocannon. You got your Panzer 38T, which is basically an equivalent to the Stuart with the 37mm as well. And then you got yourself the Panzer II L, which also has a 20mm, but it hasn't upgraded. I think, yeah, KVK 30, and this one is 38. It's a much better gun, and this one is much faster in general. And I can't really show you guys this one. Or here you can also see like vehicles, amphibian truck. Here you got the armored truck, the gas, also the anti-air truck, stuff like that. Same with Jeep. But yeah, you got quite a few options on light tanks. Next up are medium tanks. Medium tanks, you start out with, in this case, the M3 Lee, Panzer III with the Germans, and the T-28 with the Soviets. This one has a 75mm gun on sponson mount, so you can only fire forwards, you do not have a turret. And you have the secondary gunner with a 37mm turret. If you are playing war mode and you actually are fighting against light tanks, this thing is very effective because if you get a side gunner, you can actually engage 2 tanks at once against light tanks, which is really, really handy. So you also got yourself the M4A1 Sherman, which is a 75mm gun, and the Sherman Easy 8 is a 76mm gun, which is much more powerful. And of course, you got yourself your heavies. In this case, you got the Jumbo and the Pershing. In a moment, I will actually show the other tanks. These ones are the heaviest tanks. M26 Pershing being armed with 90mm gun. Really, really powerful, but they fire really slowly. And they also are very slow as well, so they do need infantry support, because otherwise an anti-tank infantry is gonna run up to these guys. Now they shoot them out of the turret if they are watching from outside the turret, because you can see either on top of the turret, basically inside the turret, or in scope mode. And if you're outside, you have full vision instead of just a small viewing port, but you can be shot out. Then people will steal your tanks, and you really don't want that. Let's see, we got tank destroyers. The Americans are kind of exceptions. The American tank destroyers are kind of like light tanks that have a very fast, they're very fast, very powerful guns with turrets, but very light armor. While the other factions do not have those. For the Germans, you got for medium tanks, you got the Panzer III, Panzer IV, and the Panther. Panther being extremely powerful and very annoying. The only place that I can penetrate is these little triangular places right here, or the actual little cupola right here, or side armor or whatever, but I cannot penetrate the front of the mantlet or the front of the plane, which is kind of annoying. Yeah, for heavy tanks you got, of course, got their Tiger and Tiger 2. What else would we have? Tiger 2 actually has twin scopes, so you have 2 zoom modes, even better. And for tank destroyers, you got their little Hetzer and Stuk 3 Model G. These are casemates, so they only have like a limited turret reverse, but they are very powerful and have a very low profile, so they are stealthy as well. The Soviets have, for medium tanks, have the T-28, the legendary T-34, as well as T-34-85. And for heavy tanks, they have the KV-85 and the IS-2, if I'm not mistaken. For tank destroyers, they have the Su-76M as well as the Su-85, which are also both casemates. So yeah, the Americans have the only non-casemate tank destroyers, but they do have like another doctrine if it comes to tanks. But yeah, let's go quickly over again what classes you can go with all the with the infantrymen. It's not because all of the other ones are pretty obvious. So with infantrymen, you guys are gonna go with a simple rifleman. You can go with a room clearer with submachine gun and grenades. We can go for support gunner with light machine gun, as well as a pistol for your backup. You can go for a support sniper with the sniper rifle and some pistol. You can go anti-tank by taking your simple rifle and going anti-tank grenades. You can also do like a heavy bazooka guy with pistol. And of course you can equip medic pouches for medics and adjustable wrenches for vehicle repair units. Fighter pilots, you only got just the pilot planes. You should not go out of your plane unless the plane is destroyed, so just plane pilot. This one has the simple sniper. This one is just a cap zone for specialist. All he's gonna do is jump on cap points and cap them. So you should take a equipment load that focuses on clearing buildings. So either machine guns, either light machine gun, SMGs, or in this case my carbine with my grenade. I really enjoy having the grenade in there, so I chose to do that. You can also go for like a pistol and like an anti-tank grenade and a normal grenade if you want to support against anti-tank units. And of course you've got your tankist that has simply your tanks. I do suggest if you're going with a vehicle class or the fighter pilot or the tankist to get yourself an adjustable wrench as soon as possible. I would even say that if you choose between your starting SMG and the wrench, then the wrench is more important because the SMG might keep you alive outside the tank, but the wrench will keep your tank alive, which is much more important. That said, I want to thank you all guys for watching this episode. I know this is not cross out, and I'm really happy that you guys still watch my videos even if they're not cross out. Now with that said, I want to thank you guys all for watching, and I will see you guys all later. Bye bye.